Welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker HD. I am going to, I think this is probably just going to be a joy pendant, but I'm going to do this anyway. I am going to throw Medley all the way up here. I guess command Melody her all the way up there. And see this wall? Yeah, I'm sure you know how we can get this. The mirror shields actually work together in tandem. So if you shine a light like down here, and allow Link to run up into that light, it should be low enough, hopefully it is. You can use his mirror shield to redirect the light again, and this makes for some really interesting mirror puzzles later on, but for now we're just going to be breaking this wall to give you a good idea of how this is going to work in the future. Alright, Medley, that's one way to get down there, yeah, sure. Alright, so I need you to sit here. And I need to command you. I command you to walk over here and shine your light and do this. Lovely. I'll actually take it. I mean, it's only $5, but $5 is $5. And this should be the perfect angle to... Hello? There we go. By the way, the direction of your mirror shield is a little bit finicky, just because it's pretty sensitive, so it's a little weird to mess around with. But as I was saying, to kind of finish a thought I brought up earlier, I really, really love when the visual design of a character changes, especially their back. Now, I know that sounds very weird and fetishy, but it's not, I assure you. It's just that a lot of times in video games you are going to be looking at the back of a character for a majority of the playthrough. And in that case, it's very important for me that the back of the character is interesting or visually appealing. And I think that in the long run, a lot of games kind of make these really neat looking characters, but their backs are just dull and boring as shit. And I kind of lose interest in staring at the same back all the time. As such, I personally really like it when there are, probably best way to put this, when there's, weaponry, or a shield, or a backpack on somebody's back. It just adds some much needed, I guess, depth. And I personally really enjoy that. But hey, that's just me. I know that not everybody feels that way. I know a lot of people don't feel that way. But I like cool looking backs on video game characters, or the backs of video game characters with a lot going on. There's beauty in having a really simplistic character design, but every once in a while I do kind of want that. Oh, I guess we can see that. Yeah, it just tosses her, which is kind of rude, but hey. Gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, there's some nuance and enjoyment you can get out of really basic character designs, which is fine, but I just like more interesting backs, especially in like games like this, adventure type games, or just interesting character designs in general, or fun, unique visual styles that make looking at the same character for a long time not feel like a pain. I guess this is the wrong way. So a large number of you are probably like, why are you going back there? And the answer to that question is, I thought it was this room. Whoopsies, my bad. Them capturing Medley can honestly be probably like not that bad of a deal for you, because it actually just, I have my fire arrows on. Whoopsies. Waste of MP, but doesn't really matter. We're gonna get more before the next dungeon anyway. But as I was saying, probably not a terrible idea to have the floor masters handle Medley for a little bit, because you won't have to worry about being dragged back to a previous room, because Medley will be held onto for a little bit, and then you can shoot with an arrow and then just deal with them that way. Anyway, as I was saying, you know, depending on the character design, it can eliminate my need for a visually interesting back. For example, I really like the way Paper Mario looks, and because it's just flip-flopping sprites back and forth, I genuinely think that's a really interesting way to go about it. I think it's an interesting visual design. I love the texture of the new Paper Mario games. I love the visual style. I can really enjoy adventure games like that. But some other adventure games, I can't think of any off the top of my head. But it's like, man, just give your character an interesting back. Oh, I guess I can think of one. I'm not a big fan of some of the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 character designs specifically, where like when they don't have any weapons on their back. I think the one I can think of primarily is like Zeke, which I know is heresy, because a lot of people think he has a really cool design, but his back is just kind of boring. So I never really liked playing as him. And I know that's a very, very petty reason, but hey, I'm a petty person, what can I say? Last episode I was trying to talk about OST and I didn't really get around to it. And I am not going to get around to it. I'm not going to get around to it just yet, because this stuff right over here, by the way, and that ladder, yeah, all that, worthless. There's nothing worth your time over there. At all. Trust me, I've tried multiple times, and there's nothing. There's just nothing. Ooh, I thought he was dead after that first spin attack, but obviously that wasn't the case. So let's see. We can do this. We are now introduced to more mirrors, not mirror shields, not Medley's harp. We are introduced to actual real mirrors. So now we have mirrors that we can make light go off of. We have Medley's harp that we can make light go off of. We have Link's mirror shield that we can make light go off of. Again, this is why I think this is essentially the next logical extreme from the light puzzles that were available in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. There's just a lot you can do here. Come on. Let's check my map before I do anything. Yeah, let's go this way first. And actually, I might leave you in this room, Medley. Bye-bye. Stay put. Get rid of you, and... Ooh, actually, no, not get rid of you. Run away. Okay, cool. Bye-bye. Let's drag this over here. For a second, I thought that this was not allowing me to drag things, but no, that was just a bad placement, or bad analog stick movement on my part. And let's go up here, smack this down, and shine some light on the subject. God, I make terrible puns and jokes and everything. God, this Let's Play is terrible. Anyway, moving on. There is this room over here. Not sure why I made that weird noise with my mouth. Ugh. Not sure what's down here, actually. Oh, it's a little, wall master, or not wall master, floor master, Jesus. Floor master maze. So you gotta kind of run around here and maneuver around all these floor masters and get this treasure chest. And then after that, the little fuzzy stuff will go away, and then you can just run up and kill all these guys if you really want to. There's a treasure chest in here. I don't think it's anything important, but I'll get it anyway. Oh, you can do that? Okay. I didn't know there was a unique animation for that. Apparently when you slam their hands with a hammer, they freak out a little bit, which, you know, does make sense. I doubt that if I got my hand smashed with a hammer, it would feel very good. Or, you know, I doubt that I wouldn't react. It's cute, though. It's actually a really, really cute and funny animation. I'm down for it. And that should be it. I think that's all of them. Will you look at that? I can count, or I guess I can see. That has nothing to do with counting. Let's see the elusive hidden treasure chest. Yeah, exactly what I thought it was. And trust me, at this point, I'm not going to be hunting down all of the treasures. I'm not going to be hunting down all of the heart pieces, so... Not really super worth my time, but anyway. I'm going to push this guy over here real quick. Come here. There we go. And Medley, you can actually come with me now. Welcome back to the Journey Club. Where you can go on journeys is kind of what I was going for, but for some reason my mind just immediately went to the band, which... Not super sure why. I haven't been listening to anything Journey related recently, so... Kind of weird, but whatever. Alright, let's get rid of this bubble first, and then I'm pretty sure you can tell what's going on here. Something that does suck, I will say this right now. The shield button...
Well, I'm not sure how to explain this. I think the light can reflect off my instrument.
Okay. Medley, you're great. Too little, too late. Stop. Leave me alone. Something I will say that's very annoying, other than Medley interrupting me, is that the mirror shield button, right? The button to use your shield, the defend button, where you can see in the top right, is also the call button. And if you are this close to her, you can still call her, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but when you're trying to do things, like actually do the light puzzles that they've given you, it's a little bit annoying to sit back and be like, oh great, now I have to deal with, you know, calling Medley on accident. 9 times out of 10. You need to get some light on you. Really don't want to be dealing with enemies right now. Another bubble. Wow, there's a lot of enemies in here. I actually totally forgot about that. Money and probably money, but it's worth a shot. Money and money. Yeah, okay. I'm going to, I guess, get Medley to just shine her light. Because I think I need to do this. I don't know if this is entirely necessary, but I think I need to get her to do this. Go back. Hopefully this will be at the right angle. And then I can do this. Yep, okay, good. And that's how we go forward. I need to be collecting every rupee I see, by the way. I've talked about it before, but I think it's about like 2,000 rupees is what I need. And right now I am not even halfway there. So I need to start making a conscious effort to break pots, to get rupees whenever I see them, and to actually start making progress on that, because that is coming soon. Soon, TM, we're gonna have to be dealing with that eventually, and I kind of don't want to, kind of don't want to be stuck between a rock and a hard place when it comes down to the final section of this game. Oh, something I haven't mentioned is that Medley actually stops when she's near enemies. Not that big of a deal. Really isn't. Because usually you're going to be taking out all the enemies in a room, or at least the way I go about it is I take out all the enemies in a room before I actually decide to tackle the puzzles in the room. Just because that makes my life literally 10 times easier. So, you know, I kind of get rid of everything before Medley has the chance to be scared. Okay, I guess I'm showing off what they do now. They hug you like this, and I guess that's like them chewing into your brains. I don't know exactly what that's all about, but they definitely squeeze you within an inch of your life. Not a fun prospect. Ouch. They've also just got a really terrifying scream. I don't think you got to hear the entire thing before. But there you go. Not what I would call fun for the whole family. 20 bucks. I will take it. I might actually reach that halfway point sooner rather than later, which is something I am entirely down for. Come here. Heart. Thank you. Heart. Ouch. Oh, this guy. Welcome back. Ouch. Aye. Examples of him just, you know, hitting really hard and, just damage boosting through all of your stuff. I guess I shouldn't have called it an invincibility frames in the last episode. Damage boosting is more a better term. Oh yeah, by the way, you can pick these things up. And they are fun. Fun to use. You can swing them like that. It's actually pretty fast, all things considered. Looks a little hokey, actually. You can also do spin attacks exactly the same way you do normal spin attacks, which I don't know if this is, like, actually better than the Master Sword at this point, but that's still pretty neat, and it's a much wider radius, so, you'll probably get some use out of that, depending on the situation. Oh yeah, third time's the charm, OST. I totally forgot to mention it again. Absolutely adore the OST in this game. There's a lot of really, really good pieces, and there's a lot of amazingly done orchestrated remixes as well. So if you're ever, interested in finding some relaxing music maybe to study to, I listen to a lot of the Wind Waker soundtrack. There's just a lot here that just sounds really good, and you are so slow. Come here. Come on. There's just a lot here that you can listen to in like a calming playlist, or that you can listen to in like an uplifting playlist, an upbeat playlist. We've yet to see hear one of the most upbeat songs in this entire game, so I'm pretty excited for that coming next dungeon. Over there is the boss door, but we don't really have the boss key, so that's not very useful to us, is it? Ouch! Just kidding, no fall damage, so it didn't hurt. Okay, this is what I would call a bit of a tizzy. Is that the right word? Is that what people say? I mean, nobody says that, first of all. I shouldn't say, is that what people say? Nobody says that. Just factually, nobody does. But I'm just trying to figure out if that's the right word specifically. Anyway, so you can kind of see what we've got to do. There's a lot of mirrors, there's those two eyes again, and there's an area that'll open up to us if we deal with those two eyes, and some invisible treasure chests. This is the culmination of everything we've learned, and I am getting a little bit excited. Let's push this all the way over here. Getting the mirrors in the right position is actually not a puzzle at all, and when I say at all, I mean at all. This seems very daunting, but you can brute force your way through this so easily. It's kind of a joke. At least the mirror positioning portion of it, because you push it as far as it can go. There you go. You just figure out how to use the mirrors. It's more of a time waster than anything. This up here is how we get light into the room, because you noticed I walked around and there was nothing here. Medley does not have to stay on that, so we don't lose one of our mirror shields at all. You are going to get pushed over here. And you know what? I might as well talk about this here, because the rest of this is pretty brainless. It's an interesting puzzle, and I think it's fun to do in general. But there's not a whole lot going on here, in all honesty. So I do kind of want to talk about this series and the future of Wind Waker specifically on this channel. I am finishing this playthrough. I'm not trying to say that, I'm not finishing the playthrough. Trust me, if I wasn't, you wouldn't be sitting here right now watching me record, watching me do this episode. But I'll probably end up redoing this game in some capacity later on down the line. Because, one, a Switch remake, or no, not remake, but re-release is inevitable. Right? Like, I feel that's, at this point, it's just fact. There will be a Switch re-release of this game. Probably Twilight Princess HD 2. What do I mean, probably? Definitely Twilight Princess HD 2. I very much see that happening. And I just... This playthrough's been a bit of a mess. I talked about this in a previous update video, that is. This video has been... I messed this up. Medley, you need to be up here. Whoopsies. This series has been a bit of a mess in terms of consistency, and I kind of just, one of these days when I return to this, probably do a 100% playthrough of this game, and just actually be, like, remotely consistent. You feel me? Alright, there you go. That's the whole, you're up to date. Someday I'll do the Switch version of this game whenever that comes out. So... Uh-oh, I spoiled it for ya! So I'm not super sure what to talk about here. because I kind of got through everything very, very quickly. And from this point onward, we are just pushing things. We are just pushing things. So I guess I should talk about Skyward Sword HD, since this is a Zelda playthrough. I'm actually very excited for that. And I know there's a lot of controversy surrounding it. Because $60, it was a Wii game, etc., etc., etc. And I understand where people are coming from, and I do wish that this wasn't $60. For example, Wind Waker HD was, you know, for most of its, or at least when I got it, it was $20. It was a Nintendo Selects title, right? Obviously, Twilight Princess never got that treatment, so that was $60. So these re-releases have always been $60, unless it was a Nintendo Selects, like Wind Waker. And I'm not sure why people were expecting anything different, considering the business practices Nintendo has already employed. So I feel like reiterating, you know, Nintendo's bad business practices with Skyward Sword HD specifically doesn't make a whole lot of goddamn sense. It's overpriced. Yeah, like pretty much every Nintendo product. You're a genius. Awesome, thanks. And that's not to discredit that idea. It's overpriced. That's fact. But I don't see why we have to go through the motions and have this discussion 16 different times. Every single time a new Nintendo port releases, and this includes Wii U ports, this includes the 3D All-Stars collection, this includes Skyward Sword HD. It just seems rather unnecessary because we all know that we knew that this was gonna happen. We knew. So I'm not sure where the, you know, I'm not sure what people thought was gonna change. But whatever. I don't know. I don't know what those people are thinking, so it's whatever. As for the game itself, I do actually think that there are enough substantial changes for me to get it day one. Just from what we've seen. Because, one, it will be the first 3D Zelda game ever to be 60 FPS. Ever. Wind Waker HD is not 60 FPS. Twilight Princess HD is not 60 FPS. None of the original releases are 60 FPS. Breath of the Wild is not 60 FPS. This will be the first 3D Zelda game that's 60 FPS. The only other Zelda game, straight up, that is 60 FPS that I can think of is A Link Between Worlds. That's it. That is it. And it's honestly a really exciting prospect, perhaps more exciting than it should be. But it's exciting to me. What can I say? What can I say? Also, I'm pretty excited to see what they do in terms of quality of life changes. And unlike a lot of other people, I didn't actually hate Skyward Sword as a base game. I actually thought it was a lot of fun. So I'm just excited to revisit it in full, probably 1080p 60 FPS glory. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm pretty hyped for that. And yes, I know a lot of people are probably gonna be like,
You could just emulate the game and get that exact same thing.
and yeah, I could. And I have done that. And I'm still getting Skyward Sword HD. So, checkmate, I guess. But yeah, another thing about a lot of people discrediting Skyward Sword HD as a game entirely right now is that we don't know shit about it. Yes, it's a port of a Wii game, but there's also been pretty substantial changes to Wind Waker HD, to Twilight Princess HD that made them overall a better experience. And, you know, I'll definitely be here and be willing to swallow my pride and say I'm wrong if the game comes out and we don't have any changes that warrant even, you know, a remote increase in price. I need to get down here so I can fly. But I just don't want to, like, start flinging shit before we even figure out what the game is, you know, what's changed about it. You know, everybody starts just talking mad trash and saying it's nothing more than a Wii port, when we really don't know exactly what it's doing to change anything, because we've seen about 2.5 seconds of footage, and all we know is that it's adding button controls, which, by the way, if you haven't played Skyward Sword before and you're going into this blind with Skyward Sword HD, please, for the love of God, at least give motion controls a chance. I know a lot of people like to talk mad shit about them and be like, hey, the motion controls on the Wii, terrible, awful, garbage. And while I disagree vehemently, I do not think button controls are a particularly elegant alternative, because the game was very much structured with those motion controls in mind, and the idea of playing the game with button controls and using the analog stick of all things to move your sword, while it does make sense, it doesn't sound elegant at all, and in fact, it's not elegant at all. I've tried that, and it just does not work particularly well. It doesn't feel good to do. And I know a lot of other people are just like straight up so anti motion controls in every capacity that they will do anything in their power, even playing a really, really terrible control scheme, just to make sure they don't have to use them. And while I think that's a preference that you can have, you can definitely have that preference. I think it's a preference that's limiting your enjoyment of Skyward Sword specifically, and a lot of other games that use motion controls to great effect. Because motion controls aren't inherently bad. I also want to remind people that gyro controls are motion controls as well, and those are absolutely outstanding. And sadly, a lot of people don't want to give those a chance either, and I think it's just stupid. Why would you not give it a shot? Something that gives you more, it gives you more precision. Why not, at the very least, give it a chance? You know? I just don't understand the whole mindset where, oh, by the way, we got the big key. Anyway, I don't understand the mindset where people are just like, yeah, I'm not even gonna give it a shot. I have access to this new thing, this new potentially helpful thing, but I'm just gonna say, nah, screw it. And, you know, maybe it's because I grew up with the Wii and I'm significantly more okay with the idea of messing around with, control schemes that are perhaps a little bit less conventional in nature. But I just, I don't understand why people would not want to, at the very least, try out new and potentially enjoyable control schemes, you know? I know a lot of people didn't want to use motion control at all in Mario Odyssey. Didn't want to try throwing the cap with motion control, and I don't know, man. That's weird to me. That's weird to me. I love playing Mario Odyssey with my Joy-Cons and flinging my hands around like crazy. It's fun. It's just fun. What can I say? But again, I did grow up with the Wii. I grew up with games that were, more focused on motion controls for inputs. So perhaps that's colored my perception of, what control schemes I am and am not willing to try. Because, yeah, I grew up with the Wii. I also grew up with the DS. Just a really experimental systems. And, that probably has something to do with it. Anyway, we are at the boss room. I have 2 fairies. I have Grandma's soup. I think I am fine. Let's go. He's back, and he's bigger than ever. These annoying things combine into one. It's probably a better way of putting it. And they become one big fat Poe. So, deal with him like you deal with the other ones. Except now you can pick him up and toss him. Once that happens, he'll break into smaller pieces, and from this point onward, kill as many of these things as you can. Holy crap, I'm doing terribly at doing any of that. You want to kill these as much as you can, because they'll come back together eventually, and like that. And you don't want this to take too many cycles, or at least I don't. I want to get this episode over with, to be honest with you. Not because I'm not having a good time, but it's got to end eventually, right? The fun times we've had together have to go someday. Hitting him with light will interrupt whatever attack he's in the middle of, so don't worry about that too much. spin around really, really slowly, and you have to hit them into the pillars, by the way. The normal spikes won't do anything. It has to be the big spiky pillars. Nothing else will work. I can see why you might have a different opinion, because spikes in general seem like they would hurt, no matter how big and pillory they are. But no, it has to be the big pillars. I love the way he shoots fire, by the way, where he breathes in and then he just spits through his lantern. Oh, it switched. Okay, now you gotta run over here. You know, he breathes through his lantern, and it's just kind of cool. I think it's an interesting way to, you know, add a different element to the fight that you might not initially expect. There you go. I'm surprised you didn't break that small orb. You just kind of went around it. Would have been really funny if that meant you didn't hit the big pillar I was throwing you at, but whatever. Didn't happen. No funnies today. Getting there. Only I didn't count, actually. I looked away for a second and I missed them. A little over 5 more. I did not mean to pull up this bomb. Whoopsies. Interrupts him again. His little belly. I didn't know there were jiggle physics. And people think jiggle physics are only for fan service. Or maybe this is fan service. I don't... I don't know. Maybe some people like seeing this guy's belly go all jiggle jiggle. 5 left. Okay, cool. Really sad that I can only get 1 in that cycle. I don't think that you can kill them all in 1 cycle. I don't think that's how this works, like, at all. Kill a certain amount and they'll just go back into 1, I suppose. I should be able to get it this cycle, though. I doubt that... Once you get it down to 1, by the way, they don't come back together, because they can't. If there's only 1 of them, it's not how that works. So we should be good now. You can run, but you cannot escape. And there he goes. Time for phase 2. Just kidding, he's dead. With that boss down, we get rupees and that bomb that I wasted. Lovely. I'll always take that. Oh, and a heart container. Our 12th, to be exact. That's cool, I guess. The prayers of the Earth Sage have restored the Master Sword's former energy. There is but one last step before it becomes the true Master Sword once again. Link, the power to repel evil is not yet fully awakened. To complete the awakening of the Master Sword, you must go to the Wind Temple for one more prayer. Now, Link, step into the light behind you and return to the surface. Your next duty is to find the Sage of the Wind Temple. I will remain here and continue to pray. You must hurry. And, Link, about Prince Kamali, please watch over him for me. With that, we have one more stage to find. But before I end off this episode, there are a few things that I want to go over, because this series is going to be changing one last time. From this point onwards, this series will be live streamed to my YouTube channel. Let me explain. Alright, for those of you who have not watched my update video, good for you. But more importantly, I talked about how this channel is going to be changing the type of content I do, just to make my life easier in the future, and to make this channel thrive still, even in a completely different setting. And that's also partly because I just like that type of content more at the moment. And I've really felt that when editing these last two videos, and I am just not making the progress I wanted to with this series right now, and because of that, I think that the easiest way for me to get these out is to upload them, or live stream them rather, to YouTube, and then just have them act as their own individual episodes. It'd probably be like 3 live streams, 3 like hour to 2 hour long episodes, and that's just kind of where I am with the series right now. I will try to keep it as normal as possible, I guess is the best way to put it, where I keep my commentary relatively unchanged from how it would be in a normal Let's Play setting. I know that I've been streaming on Twitch every once in a blue moon, and that it's a little bit of a different atmosphere, but I'll try to keep it more YouTube-esque when I am streaming these last few episodes. Just because I don't want this to feel like a stark change. I really just want the biggest differences to be no editing, and longer episodes. I just want it to feel like you're watching a normal episode of Wind Waker, just long form, and that's kind of where I am right now. So, I don't know when this will be. I'll probably post on Twitter whenever I'm thinking about live streaming the last few episodes, so if anyone wants to come in and hang out, that's fine. And this series just needs to be done. It really does, because I'm making a lot of progress on other things, other ideas, and I've got a lot of plans for the future, and this is just the one thing tying me down, so it needs to get done. Thank you for sticking through the series for this long. We are getting close to the end, so next time on Let's Play The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker HD, we will be in a new format. Sorry that this series is changing 6 ways from Sunday. It's going in a bunch of different directions, but hopefully at the end of this, we'll have a relatively decent experimental playthrough that's been going on for well over half a year now, I think. Oh yeah, definitely, it's over a year. It's been going on for over a year now, so this is the one last thing I want to get done, and then life will be good, life will be dreams. So thank you for watching this episode, and I will see you at the live stream, hopefully.